Episode 18, Building the Biz, Beginning Your Business Journey.
Hi, I'm Jade.
And I'm Ellie.
And this is Really Fucking Trying.
A podcast where we talk about the ins and outs and ups and downs of running a small business and being creative.
Today we're talking about the very beginning, starting our own businesses.
So figuring where to start out can be really overwhelming, but hopefully we'll be able to give some good advice today. We know that this is a little bit of a strange one to do since we are, at this point, 10 months into the podcast. But I think to start with, we underestimated just how many newbies, hobbyists, is that the word? And students as well would be listening to this, which is really fucking nice as well. So we thought that this might make a good topic to cover. This is the first of a sort of two-part series that we're doing. So this one is for beginners. The next one will be for more experienced traders, people that have been going a little bit longer.
Yeah. We're also joined today by the lovely Courtney from Slug Creative. We're going to tell you all about how we all started our businesses, how we got them off the ground, what worked, what didn't, and all the little lessons that we learned along the way.
So to start with, Courtney, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us everything.
Hello, I'm Courtney, founder and designer at Slug Creative. I run a brand and packaging design studio that helps beauty and lifestyle brands, focusing on queer-owned and women-led businesses, go from DIY to retail ready. So basically, I make sure that your brand actually stands out online and in stores.
Fab.
Oh, I love that. Do you know what though? That's something so different from anyone we've had on, really.
Yeah.
We've had illustrators, but not, people like yourself there,
So how did you get into that?
I'm a packaging designer by day.
By nature.
I've just worked in industry for years.
Oh, fun.
I work in toy at the moment, and I used to work in beauty. So it's just always been about beauty, really, and that's just kind of where I've thought, I'm going to niche down. They always say niche down, so there I am, niching down.
So how long have you been doing that as your day job?
Just over 4 years. Well,
amazing.
nearly 5, I suppose. So in and out. That's it. I can't seem to stay in a job for long. So I feel like this is why I want to do my own thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that.
It's like a 2-year thing, and then I'm always like, what else can I be doing?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think a lot of creative people have that same problem, don't they?
Exactly.
I didn't think I was like that until a friend pointed out that I am like that when they told me that my job history was the length of the Magna Carta. To which I was like, you cheeky bitch. And then when I sat and counted them all, I realised that she was fucking right.
So how long has the Slug Creative been going?
Well, this is quite a newbie, really. So I relaunched as Slug Creative in April this year. So very new. But I had been freelancing on and off for years, and then, it doesn't work, or I get another job and all that kind of thing. So, but this time it's like, come on, I'm just making it happen no matter what. So
Isn't that amazing?
that's where we're at.
Oh, well done. So should we start with...
I think for this one, we need to start at the very beginning.
Yeah, how we decided to take that step into small biz life.
Yes.
Because it is just that. It's a life, isn't it? It's not a business.
It's like the rewind episode.
Yeah.
This, isn't it?
Back to the beginning.
Yeah. And me and Jay probably might reference things that we've already talked about, but the whole point of this episode was to go into a bit more depth and talk about that process a bit more.
We say this a lot, but we very carefully pick the guests for each episode as well. And we picked you because obviously you've had the rebrand as Slug Creative, and that'll be fresher to you than it necessarily would be towards you.
I've been going 5 years. Jade, you've been going longer than that, haven't you?
6, 7 maybe.
6, 7, yeah. But either way, it's a few years down the line from us. We wanted somebody that was still quite fresh, quite new, would still remember.
And obviously, although you've been doing this kind of thing for a long time, this business is still fairly new, isn't
definitely,
it?
this is the most official it's felt.
Yeah.
But that's what we want. We want someone fresh and new to the game.
So do you want to start us off, Ellie? How you decided to take the plunge?
Do you know what? It's always been a tough one for me because even as a kid, there was nothing else. There was nothing else. And I've said this before in previous episodes, was drawing since a young age, so young. I can't remember not going, drawing, I love that. My only apprehension was the sustainability of a job as an artist because it's drilled into you, whether it be school, college, I'm sure even uni. An artist, it's not really a job. You only make money when you die.
Yeah.
And for me, art was the only subject that I took interest in school, but I also really enjoyed business studies. I grew up with a dad who ran his own business since I was about 7.
Yeah.
So I'd seen him be his own boss, and I was like, do you know what? I like that. He ran a care agency. I didn't want that field, but I just liked the idea of me being the top dog. You know what I mean?
Did you think you'd be the only dog?
Yeah, the top dog and the only dog as well. Like, but you know what I mean? Just that I used to look at my dad and think, it doesn't answer to anybody.
Yeah.
It's his. This is his baby. And you know, I just liked the idea of I don't have a boss to answer to.
Yeah.
So it was a really natural progression for me. But in terms of actually setting up the business, now I left education, well, college, uni, in 2018, and I started the business officially in October 2020. Not much of a gap, 2 years. That's not much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
When I say that 2 years was the longest fucking 2 years of my life, so much happened and nothing happened at the same time. It's mad. But I feel like everybody who leaves college, especially after studying art, feels that because you don't bounce straight into a job.
No, absolutely
not in art anyway.
No.
You just don't.
Yeah,
You have to pave your own way.
Yeah.
And I had a day job at Chinese takeaway, as I've always said, but I used to always go, I haven't got time, I'm taking on more hours here because I need to afford a life because I'm an adult now. And I always blamed time. I always blamed, you know, time and day job basically for not setting up a business. In hindsight, it wasn't that at all. It wasn't. It was a confidence thing.
Yeah.
I know that now looking back, but at the time, you know, I was just blaming day job, not enough time on my hands, you know. It was absolutely a confidence thing.
Yeah.
But COVID forced my hand. It really did. It was like the kick up the arse that fucking hurt, but I needed. And then all of a sudden, you know, we're in a lockdown and I was like, I knew everything was telling me, this is your chance. This isn't going to happen again.
Yeah.
Go, 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 go. You're going to regret it if you don't.
Yeah.
And after I'd stopped crying, that's what I did because I knew, I kept asking myself, Ellie, if not now, then when?
Yeah.
And I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah.
And if you can't answer that question, fucking do it.
Yeah, I agree. So I was kind of the same situation as you. I was like, art isn't a real job. Art's a hobby. And even though like I'd been to uni and I've got like an illustration degree and my mum's an artist, like my mum's very much like, it's a side hustle, which is fine. But like she's got a family to support and all, you know, all that kind of stuff that I don't have. So I was very fortunate in that sense that I could kind of go for it and make it my full-time job. But when I was at uni, they were like, I always say this all the time, but they were very much like, if you want to do illustration, you have to be a children's book illustrator or you have to be an illustration teacher. And that was kind of it. And starting my own business was never really an option in that sense. And it was probably like 5-6 years after leaving uni before I did anything with my degree at all.
It trains you, doesn't
it? Really
though?
does. It does.
Yeah.
They kind of, I know it's obviously, it's meant to have the opposite effect, but I felt like my degree kind of kicked like the joy out of me. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I loved it, but I still felt knackered afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah. But when I eventually got back into it, I only did it because my partner was like, you should do something with this. And he massively encouraged me to do it. And I probably never would have had it not been for him. But I felt like I kept it very low key. Like for the longest time, I didn't say this is a business. I was just like, my little art thing.
Your little side
My
hustle.
I didn't even call it a side hustle. I was just like, oh, my drawings. Do you know what I mean? I never ever would have dreamed that it was a business. But I think that was a confidence thing.
Yeah.
I think I couldn't bring myself to say it's a business because then if it fails, I haven't run my business properly.
Yeah,
Whereas if it's just I'm drawing and I fail, then that's all right.
I notice this now, though, because I don't know if it's the same for you, Jade. A lot of people, you get people at markets and things or events that you're at, come up to you and go, oh, I do this in my spare, but it's not a business.
Yeah.
It could never be a business. And you go, well, why the fuck not?
It could.
And it's a
Own it.
confidence thing with them, and you recognise the same signs that you saw in yourself years ago.
And you want to almost shake them and be like,
You want
do
to give them
it.
a good kick.
Do it.
Yeah, do it. And I know that lots of people listening to this, and if you're out there thinking, are they talking about me? Yeah, we
Yeah,
are.
we are.
Deal with it. So many people have so much great talent and they just don't utilise it. And if you can make money off it, fucking make money off it.
Yeah.
You've been blessed.
Exactly.
Well, that's what they say, monetize your hobbies.
Exactly,
But then,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
then you do it and you're like, oh no.
If you
have I
love
done?
what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
But should we talk about our sort of starting points? Because obviously, you know, for a lot of us, it was just sort of a natural progression, really, or somebody else encouraging us into it. But in terms of actually deciding, yeah, I'm going to go for it, where the fuck do you start?
Yeah. So for me, my starting point was kind of Instagram. Again, like at this point, I wasn't saying it was a business at all. I just like started an Instagram account, posted the drawings that I've done with like, I had some rough ideas of what products I wanted to do, but I would always like post a drawing with with a caption of like, stickers coming soon. I had no intention of doing products at all. I was just like, I'd need to think of a caption. After I'd set up the Instagram, I got business cards. The business card thing felt like a massive step, but also like a massive commitment. Like I was like, oh shit, like if I've got a business card, I've got to do a business. And it just felt like very overwhelmingly professional of me. And then the next step was kind of the products. I was like, right, okay, I've said I'm going to make things. I should probably start making things. I felt very out of my depth when it came to the products because I didn't know at all what I was doing. But I've mentioned before when I was at uni, they took us on like class trips to like art markets and stuff like that.
I love that you call it a class trip when you were
Well, I called it school trip the first time and you said that wasn't appropriate.
You did. It's still in the edit as school trip and I love that.
What did I just call it? Class trip? Is that not appropriate also? What should I call it?
An outing.
An outing?
Yeah.
Okay. They took us on an outing. And they took us to like art markets and things like that. And that was massively like a game changer for me because I could see what other people were doing and what kind of products people were putting out there with their designs on. And I'm not saying like go out and copy people that you see at a market, but it was a massive jumping off point for me. And then after I'd got my products, the next step was Etsy. And I know like Etsy gets a lot of flack and things like that, but for me, it's hit and miss. And for me, it was at the time the only place I knew of to kind of sell my stuff. I didn't know of anywhere else, but I only had like 3 products. I'd spent a little bit of time building up that following on Instagram. So when I put my Etsy on, I obviously like announced it on my social media and stuff, and I actually got some sales like that day. And I think had I not done it all in that order and like got a bit of a following, obviously it wasn't a massive following, but just a tiny following. If I'd not done it in that order and got those sales the first day, I might have just been like, this is scary and hard and I don't want to do it. But because I got those orders, I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I can do it.
Yeah,
do
it's
you know
that
what I mean?
little boost, isn't it, that you need, I think, to get started sometimes.
Yeah.
But what about you, Courtney? What was your...
Well, I suppose I mentioned it before, but obviously I was in the industry I've been in the industry for a good few years and I've never stayed anywhere longer than 2 years because I always feel like there's something missing or I want to do something that's more my vibe. It's like not full creative control because it's never...
Yeah.
Client work is, there's always a bit of giveaway, but more creative control. And obviously after COVID and like the full time in the office back to doing all that, it's like I just want the flexibility that you can get with working for yourself.
Yeah.
And the only thing is that obviously it's a long journey to get there. But yeah, I freelanced on and off for years, and this time I was like, in December I got offered another job, and I was like, should I take this? Or do I really just commit to doing my own thing? Because otherwise, in 2 years, I'm going to be wanting to start again. And I'm just going to keep wishing that I've done it. So I actually got a fixed term contract in my current role now for 1 year. And I sort of was like, yeah, this is my year to make things happen. So that's in progress.
Oh my God. Amazing.
So yeah, that's where I started.
Oh.
It's true though, isn't it, about, you need something to sort of go, you need that time to go, oh, actually I'm in a bit of a cycle here, how do I get out of that cycle?
Definitely.
Because I can't stay in this forever,
Yeah.
like with the job hopping and things, because I'm the same as well. And I know that sometimes I'm like, Ellie, just commit, please.
Yeah.
It's so hard though, like,
it
so
is.
obviously to just make that jump and be like, right, this is it now.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it
Fucking
now.
do it.
Yeah.
And it's scary, but every day after making that decision, it does get easier.
Yeah, it really does. It does.
For me, my starting point was my products. So I felt like such a massive failure because I dropped out of uni after like 2 months. So I hadn't even given it much time, to be honest. But I just had a feeling I was in amongst a shit show. And to be honest, COVID would have completely interrupted my third year.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad I did now. But at the time, I was like, shit, have I done the right thing?
Yeah.
I had this feeling that other people might be disappointed in me. Other people didn't give a shit. They knew it was my life. You know what I mean? I think I'm very lucky to be surrounded by people going, no, you do what you want. You're in control here. But I felt like a failure. I already had Hazelhurst Studios, so I'd already been a member there for a good few years. But I thought, what can I do to be productive and make myself feel a bit less like shit? And the natural answer for me was to work on my drawing style. So that's what I did with the full mind one day that I would go into this. But I knew I was a good portrait artist, but I don't think I was at at the level yet where I could sell work. I had a feeling that took a little bit of practice, and I wanted to develop more of a style as well. And that came naturally over time through experimenting with charcoal, pencil, ink, all kinds of things. But once I felt like I had that style down to a T, I was like, okay, I'm ready. But the first step was the products. I had every intention of drawing pictures of people I liked that I thought would sell well.
Yeah.
And that was my intention.
Yeah.
And when lockdown hit, I set myself a challenge. So we went into lockdown in March. I wanted to come out by July with 12 portraits. And that was my challenge. I did 11 by July. We came out of lockdown a little bit sooner than I expected, but I didn't care. 11's 11.
No,
it's a good
that's really
number.
good.
I'm up to 50 now, so I did something right. But yeah, my starting point was my products, but I was doing other things in the meantime, which we will talk about now. So to talk a bit more about actually going into the nitty gritty of it and how to start a business, because there's a lot involved.
No, there is. I think as creatives, we kind of think, I just want to draw these little things, or, you know, whatever you're doing, whether it be crochet or painting or whatever, you just think, oh, I really like doing that, so I'm going to just do it. And then actually you kind of get hit by a fucking bus when you start, because you're like, oh, there's actually a lot more that goes into it.
It's not enough to just be creative, but it's also not things that you can't learn.
No, it's not. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
So in terms of support, resources, any sort of training that might have helped us on the way, did anybody have that?
So I did. I always kind of knew I wanted to be self-employed in some way. I just hadn't narrowed down that it was art that I wanted to do. At one point, I really wanted to open up my own bar, which now seems horrifically out of character.
You don't even drink?
I know I don't drink. I know. I did at the time, but horrendously out of character.
Imagine
right?
asking the bar owner what you recommend. I don't know. I'm teetotal.
I don't know. So yeah, anyway, I wanted to open my own bar, and I went on a Prince's Trust course.
Oh, okay.
Which, as far as I can remember, is free. I don't know if they even still do them because he's not Prince anymore. He's a king. But
There is another Prince.
yeah, but is it him? Has he took over?
I don't
course?
know,
I mean,
actually,
he
that's
wasn't
a
there. It
good
was
point.
actually very little to do with him. I was underwhelmed, but
Did you think you were going to meet Charles on day one?
I really did. No, so anyway, so I went
As he
into
mates
this.
with Camilla by the end of the course.
So I went into this course with the mindset of I'm going to open my own bar. Obviously, that did not come to fruition, as we all know. Spoiler alert. But when I went into it, it was lots of other people. It wasn't like one-on-one. It was like there was probably like 15, 20 of us all wanting to do different things. Like I remember there was this girl that wanted to open up like a place where you can bring your dog and we can teach them like how to swim and all stuff like that. And that was really cute.
Like a doggy daycare?
Like a doggy daycare.
I love that. Is she hiring?
She actually, I have got her on Facebook and she has done it and she has opened a business and it is sick.
Is it?
Yeah, but right. Anyway, so there was.
Sorry.
We'll get her as a guest. But because there were so many different people there, all wanting to do different things, it wasn't about me and my fictitious bar. Do you know what I mean? So I actually took away a lot of skills from that later on I've been able to use without at the time knowing I would ever use them, because I thought, is this going to help me open my bar? And obviously that's not what I did. But that's helped me in the long run, because it was a lot of the boring stuff, like how to write a business plan, how to do your taxes, how to know your profit margins, all that kind of stuff that like we don't really talk about because it's all a bit boring. But actually,
We're going to in this episode.
we are going to,
and it's not going to be boring.
It's not
Thank
gonna be
you,
boring.
Jade.
But actually, you do need to know it. Do you know what I mean? But it's not the kind of stuff that you would ever sit down with your friend and go, "Oh, have you done your taxes yet?" Because no one cares.
Not unless you're a QuickBooks advert on telly.
Not yeah.
It's never been easier with...
With the Prince's Trust.
I feel like not rarely, but like sometimes it's like if you're going into business, you're rarely ever business minded. It's always you have to learn that part along the way.
It's two very different sides of your brain, I think, that have to find a way to meet. I do think I was lucky because I had an interest in both anyway.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do things very by the book. One, because I wanted to. Two, because we were in lockdown and I had the time to do things by the book. And three, I knew my dad would shout at me if I didn't. So it was around about February 2020. The writing was on the wall. I was spiralling. Other people at the studio noticed that I was spiralling and they were like, now's your chance. Basically the same as I was internally to me. And it was one of the artists there that had recommended the women's organisation to me. Now, for those who haven't heard of the women's organisation, they provide business training and support for women in Liverpool City region and across the northwest as well, I think.
Lovely.
So within a couple of weeks, at this point we were in lockdown as expected. I just filled in a couple of forms and I I had a meeting with a work coach over Zoom who suggested with training sessions that I should start with, got to know about me, got to know about the business idea that I had. And it was all via Zoom, but I felt like literally like click my fingers and then suddenly I was enrolled in these training programs. Like it was really fast paced, but it was great because I didn't want to sit around, you know, waiting for somebody to get back to me. I just wanted to get straight into it. You know, I didn't know how long this time would last. So that was great. And what I was booked into was basically called the Enterprise Training Support Program. So within a week of going, right, Ellie, now I was in a session called Planning for Success, which was literally teaching me how to write my business plan, basically. And that included building a social media strategy. There was sessions on how to research your market, which was something that I hadn't really considered, but your target audience is actually really important. Who you're aiming your products at. Financial planning, which I was dreading, but I remember that session and she broke it down into such small segments that it was actually really easy. And for each session, as I say, it was all over Zoom. There was absolutely nothing in person, but they'd send me resources too via email, so like actual printouts that I could print out and make notes on. And from those notes and doing those sessions week by week, by the end of it, I essentially had a business plan. I just had to write it up. It was so useful. I can't tell you, I can't say enough good things about it. And it was exactly what I needed during that time as well. I was drawing a lot, but it was nice to have that time away and also talking to other people, which was so valuable in that time too, because I was actually living by myself during COVID as well, so I was lonely. Working strictly on the product range, which, you know, just drawing by myself in an empty room, you know, it was
bit depressing, isn't it?
It's the only time it's the only time in my life where I've ever been lonely. You can be alone a lot, but to be lonely is something completely different. It was the only time I've ever been lonely. Was it really fucking productive though? Yes, it was. And I can't tell you how useful they were. And I don't think I realised at the time, because I was lonely, I really appreciated the support they were giving me, and my work coach was great. But I think it was only in hindsight and how easy it was to write a business plan as a result of those training sessions. This went on for about 6 months to a year altogether. It was a lot. It was intensive. But they made it fun. And one thing I really liked about the women's organisation is it was aimed at women for a start. It was aimed at women in Liverpool region, in the Northwest. So I was exactly their demographic. I didn't ever feel nervous to speak up during any of the Zoom classes, which is so important, I think, because sometimes they can be so intimidating, especially when there's lots of people. But I noticed every time somebody suggested something or said something that they were doing, you know, asking a question, they were so validating. Even if it wasn't right, it was like, oh, you're on the right track. And I just thought there was something so comforting about that. So anything that I did stumble upon, I was quite happy going back to them and going, I don't think I really grasped that. Can I do that course again? And they go, we'll book you into next week's one. Like, there was never anything. It was just, I've got nothing but good things to say about them. They were really useful for me setting up.
That's good to know.
So obviously staying at home, lonely as fuck, drawing away, doing these business courses, working strictly on a product range. Like, I had an end goal. Basically, by the time we came out of lockdown, I had a set plan. There was no stopping me now. I'd gone from flaky as fuck to let's fucking go, like overnight virtually. And like I said, I wrote a business plan. I've still got it. It's about 20 pages long. But when I did my first draft, I sent it to my work coach, who suggested some tweaks. But I also gave the draft copy to my dad. And like I said, my dad during that time ran his own business. And I said to my dad, I said, will you read through this? Because he understood what I do. And he understood me better than anybody else as well. So I thought he'd be a good person to ask to go through. I said, will you just note on the business plan anywhere that you think, you know, there could be improvements or anything like that? He literally took a red Sharpie to it. And when I say it was more fucking red Sharpie when I got it back than it was, you know, like teachers write notes. Wrong. Page 1, that was just my name and the logo and the date itself. People was like, you don't need the fucking date, take it out. I was like, ouch. By the time I got it back, but it was stronger as a result. But also another thing as well, this might actually come in useful for newbies, because it came in fucking useful for me. So when words come up sometimes and you're not quite sure what it means. So for example, I remember in one of these training sessions getting a bit confused about the difference between revenue and turnover. Turns out not that different. But I remember covering this in my GCSE and it's just gone over my head since then. BBC Bite Size, their business studies section. Genuinely, if you're looking for the basics on how business works, they do quizzes as well. So it's obviously aimed at teenagers to help them pass their GCSEs. But it's still really useful. And I still occasionally revisit it when it comes back for, you know, to tax return season. I go back to it because just to remind myself to keep my brain fresh.
Why do I think that's so cute? That's adorable.
It's really useful. It's genuinely a top tip for me.
I love that so much.
But what happened? Did you have any sort of, I suppose you were already trained in that, weren't you?
Yeah, but then, like you mentioned, it was like the business sort of that side of thing, the marketing. So I actually went to, in Manchester, where I live, there is a Build a Business Greater Manchester, which is like business workshops and resources in the local libraries. But I think that they have them all over because I'm from Blackpool and I went to one there. So
Okay.
I just didn't finish that one. But so I went to like a business basics workshop. I went to a know your audience workshop. I went to a marketing one and things like that. They had branding, everything. And then you got to have like one-to-ones with an advisor. You could also go on the computers and there's resources online that you can only get at the library for market research and all that good stuff.
This sounds great.
So-
How do I sign up?
Well,
I love a
that's it.
course.
I do think that whilst that one was like library related, I do feel like they have them everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's because it's like local authority
Yeah.
kind of vibes. So, but it was great, and I do feel like it definitely gave me the leg up because I tried it before and I didn't really see it through. But this time, it's like I really made the most of it.
Yeah.
So I feel like it got me on the good step up.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Nice to have that support though, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because I think, like you say, with creative people, it doesn't come, I don't think it comes that naturally to
No.
us. I had an interest in business studies, but I was still no fucking expert.
Yeah.
Just because I like Dragon's Den and I got an A in my GCSE doesn't make me a fucking expert. Do you know what I mean? You know, and I knew that. I wasn't naive enough to think that. I think it's so good to have these programs. So we've all used resources there to help us.
I think you don't necessarily need like an official course though either. Like most stuff is Googleable, and like things like going to markets and, you know, seeing traders that are potentially doing exactly what you want to be doing, or, you know, just getting out there and even speaking to them. Like I know that's obviously very nerve-wracking and terrifying, but speaking to traders at markets, I found generally most small business owners are quite nice.
Yeah.
Maybe we just deal with nice ones and we're fortunate, but I don't know. But generally, they want to see other small businesses succeed.
Yeah.
And I think if you went to someone at a market and said, I'm really sorry, do you know how to do this? They would go, no, I don't. No, they would go, I do, yeah, this is how I did it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always, I've found anyway. I think like life lessons are just as valuable as like education.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely. Like I went to uni and did graphic design, but I have so many designer friends that didn't go to uni and like they're doing great.
Yeah.
So
They're no worse off. 'cause
No,
they haven't got a
exactly.
degree.
It's hard
It's just
to tell, isn't it?
practice.
Sometimes
Yeah.
who's got the degree and who hasn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just like obviously I did it, but I don't think you need it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
at all.
I agree.
But in terms of the podcast, we were different, weren't we? When we were setting up, because we used the time after Christmas, because we knew both of us didn't have much on in January as well, and I get bored out my mind like as soon as midnight hits on
So I
Boxing
was
Day.
like, I need to give Ellie a project.
Yeah, no, literally. But we were contrasting in the way we did it, weren't we? But it actually worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
Because I went into planning mode. I wrote us a mission statement. I said, right, Jade, we need to know what this is, who it's aimed at,
I feel like-
what we're going to talk about.
I feel like your role was a lot more important than my role.
No, it wasn't though, because you started the Instagram straight away.
I was picking like colour schemes.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear this because Jade's going to put herself down. So Jade started the Instagram straight away. Like I remember logging onto my phone one day and be like, all right, we're on Instagram now. We haven't recorded an episode yet, but we're on Instagram. This is happening. But I wouldn't have done that. I'd have probably waited till recording the first episode. But we actually got more momentum behind the first episode
people were
because
excited
we'd
waiting
done that.
for it.
So I do think that was right of you. You were more fussed about the aesthetics than I was to start with. But now I think we've got quite a strong
I think we do,
brand
yeah.
kit going. So
No, you're
it's
all right.
but the mission statement helped us both, didn't it? In terms
Massively,
of
yeah. And that's something that I never ever would have thought to do. I wouldn't have done it.
So for anyone listening to this, a mission statement is a sort of who, what, when, where, why of your business. And it's helpful.
Oh, massively.
They're not long, just this short statement saying who you are, what you do, why you want to do it, how it's going to help people, how it's going to benefit you if it's a business.
And even now, like, I'm like, we need to think of new episodes. Let's look back at that.
Yeah.
And see who we're doing this for and what would they want to see.
So I think if you want to start a business, it's worth writing down just a small paragraph about what exactly it is that you do, why you want to do that.
And nobody ever
And
even
what you
has
want
to
to
see that.
achieve.
It can just be for you. It can
Yeah.
just be.
Definitely.
So you've got it clear in your head where this is going.
Yeah. And that mission statement also becomes the starting kit for your brand identity as well.
Yeah.
So you'd be surprised, how much that small mission statement helped us loads, didn't
Massively, yeah. Would recommend.
it? Thanks.
Having a business with Ellie.
No, but I think we just contrasted each other really well because I would not have started that Instagram. I would not have got the momentum behind us like what you did.
Yeah.
So
I would not have written a mission statement.
You sort of rallied the crowd out, and then
You were doing all the hard work behind the scenes.
No, I wasn't doing the hard work. We focused on the logo a lot, didn't we? And I still love doing that because that was just a fun project to do, but it looked fucking great. Yeah. And then that led to, we could do more of this, which is, what we're going to talk about in the next episode about, where we'd like to go next with that too. But yeah, I just think we've made a good team so far.
I think so too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right. Should we talk about like what's turned out to be easier than we expected, what's turned out to be more challenging than we thought it would be, that kind of stuff?
Who'd like to go first?
I don't mind going first.
You want to go first?
I'll go first. So honestly, I don't think anything's particularly tougher than I thought it would be, because I thought everything would be horrendously difficult.
Yeah.
I had very scary expectations going into business, and I think nothing's been worse than I thought it would be. Do you know what I mean?
You sort of drag yourself into it, kicking and screaming.
Yeah, you
isn't
do,
it the weirdest thing?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like a lot of things are still very difficult. But you just kind of have to roll with the punches, and you're doing everything so fast because essentially you've gone into business on your own and you're the only person that can deal with it. So you've done it before you've had time to think about it. Do you know what I mean? Like you go, oh shit, this really scary thing is coming and I've dealt with it. Before you even know it, before you've had chance to panic about it, you've had to deal with it. But yeah, I think I just kind of do one thing at a time, take it day by day, sometimes minute by minute. I've never got a plan.
Organised chaos.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, finish that thing, right, what's next?
Yeah, no, you are like that. Yeah.
I haven't got a real plan going on.
I get what you mean by that,
But that's okay.
If it's working, it's working. I don't think you need to plan loads, because there's always that risk as well that plan might not.
It could go terribly wrong.
It could go terribly wrong, and for reasons completely beyond your control even sometimes. Sometimes a massive part of small business is just rolling with the punches, which we will talk about more in the next episode as well. But in terms of jobs that were easier than I expected, setting up the Etsy, I don't remember that being too much of a headache. I don't remember it too much, to be honest, but I don't remember.
Maybe it's because it was so hard that you've blocked it out.
No, but I don't remember. Everything was Googleable.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's lots of tutorials on how to set up an Etsy shop. So I never really felt too alone. I know that if it did come unstuck, I could just Google it and the answer would be there. I would recommend for anybody listening to this that is a newbie that may be thinking about setting up an Etsy shop, if you are stuck, I would say, this sounds awful, look for British videos, because sometimes American terminology can trip you up.
Yes. I don't think anything has been particularly harder than I thought, but things have been more time consuming than I thought. I would say that. Like you just said, everything is Googleable and you can watch videos on anything, but that is going to take up a lot of your time.
Yeah, that does, yeah.
And you've just got to be prepared to lose that time, unfortunately. Yeah.
I used to watch a lot of sort of how-to videos and tutorials, but because I'm impatient, I will skip and scan.
Yeah.
I will spend more time scrolling through that video looking for the bit that I need rather than just sitting there watching it from
I do
start
that
to
and then I
finish.
actually spend more time because I'm like, oh shit, I've missed it, I better go back, try and find it again. Do you know what I mean? And I'm actually, this 1 hour video has took me 3 hours to watch because
exactly.
I keep missing the bit I need.
I will say this though, for Etsy, I did find their seller handbook really useful too initially. I think it's called The Ultimate Guide to Etsy Search or something like that. I don't remember setting up Etsy being that much of a headache. But I'll go into this more in the next episode as well. I was pinning all my hopes on Etsy to start with because I didn't really think of any other avenues from an outside perspective, looking in and looking at all these small business sort of role models of Jade, which you were one.
Thank you.
So I remember looking at them and thinking, right, they've got an Etsy shop, they've got an Etsy shop, they've got an Etsy shop, right, this is the main, I assumed in my head, this is the main source of income for everybody, and it's not necessarily. I didn't know that, I'd made an assumption, but I was like, Etsy's where it's at, I need to focus everything on Etsy.
Yeah.
But there's other avenues, put it that way.
So obviously, Courtney, your business is very different than ours because you don't kind of, you wouldn't go on Etsy, say, do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Has there been anything for you that you've been like, oh shit, that was actually really fucking hard?
So getting clients.
Okay, yeah.
Just from the off is, I think what I've recognised this time compared to previous years where I've tried before is that it's still hard to get clients like it was hard before, but it just feels even harder, I think, because of, like money, like people are doing different stuff, and the internet in general, like being seen online and all that kind of thing. anything. It's just, in my head, I thought, oh, yeah, I'm going to smash it this time. I've got it all figured out. And I'm 4 months in and I'm only just starting to get like a sniff of some clients. So that generally is harder than I expected. Yeah. Because obviously you're doing it and the momentum and you're like, this is great. But obviously if there's not really any sort of clients, basically, then it's hard to sort of be like, oh yeah, I'm doing this right. But at the same time, I know that I just need to keep going.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing, isn't it? That's the trickiest bit.
I think a lot of designers will relate to that as well, because you don't suddenly wake up the next morning with a list full of clients with a jam-packed diary meeting with them all. You've got to build up the portfolio, haven't you? You've got to almost sell yourself in order to get the clients back. So I'd imagine that is a long process.
Well, exactly. It's literally just that, isn't it? And having to show up and market yourself and everything like that is hard.
And you're right, with a client base as well, there's always a back and two. It's never completely in your hands either. But I really like the way you do your social media, actually, because I think it's very real. Because you keep the professional vibe completely, but
it's also you.
It's also you, and you go, do you know what, I'm not perfect, but I also do this and you can have this. And it's just, the balance is spot on. I think.
Nice one. Because actually I was speaking to I was on a client call last night actually, and they were saying you're obviously professional in the sense where you will do the job and do it well, but you're not corporate. You can have a laugh with yourself, and obviously your branding and everything like that isn't hoity-toity. It's not that vibe because you're not that vibe. And obviously when she was saying, when I'm on this call with you, that's really clear. So I was just like, oh, that's branding, baby.
No,
that means you've done your job well.
Really well done.
And I'm a brand designer, everybody.
But I think brand designers and graphic designers, sometimes it is that hoity-toityness. It's that art school. They fall into more sort of my category of the fine art sort of world, which, especially in this area as well, that is so working class. We don't respond to that too well a lot.
I think, genuinely, I think you come across very, very well on social media.
I do, yeah.
And I love, as soon as I went on yours, I was like, oh yeah, that's her. I know now,
Well, that was it. I really, especially with the rebrand and everything, I was like, I have to have this all proper and it needs to represent me. But obviously that is the only thing. I don't know if people are necessarily looking for the hoity-toity, but they're also not my audience.
Exactly.
So get off my page.
Yeah,
that's why your market research is so important though, because if you market your business to the wrong people, people that are never going to relate to you in a million years and you're not going to relate to them, it's not going to work.
And also you're going to slip up. If all your branding and all your Instagram and stuff was all that hoity-toity kind of stuff, and then this person yesterday was on that client call with you, they would be like, who the fuck are you? You are not what I've seen on the internet.
And also, we wouldn't have picture for the podcast.
But do you know what I mean? It's so easy and quick to spot people that are not authentic, isn't it? And I think that you come across very well.
Well, your business is you, and I think it has to be. And this podcast almost could have been called The Business Is You, because it is.
We say it every day.
Yes, but it's so true. So it has to be an extension of you, and you do that perfectly, I think, but while still being professional. I struggle with that balance to this day. And it's worth noting actually that when I started the business and I was looking at setting up an Instagram, I was going to keep my other art page. So I had a page that was just under Ellie Francesca Watson. I've deleted it since. But I was going to use that for just my normal art stuff, and then just use the business page as strictly business. So all my captions were going to be really professional. And that quickly went by the wayside. Very quickly.
But I think it has to.
I didn't want to pretend to be this big professional, with no personality. So I ended up just deleting the personal and just putting it all onto the business page. And that's not to say I don't share loads of personal stuff on the business page, because I don't. I'm quite private, actually, despite doing this. But it's me. And if they don't like it, they can fuck off.
But I think, I completely agree with you. I think, when I started, it wasn't because I necessarily wanted to be professional. It was just because I was like, I don't know what to share on the internet. I don't know what's okay. But my captions for posts and things were like, I've got a new print. It's A4.
Mine is still like that.
But
hello, does anyone want anything?
But now I'm like, oh, I've been drawing this and this was really cute and I really enjoyed this and now I sell it on this. Do you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And I think you've got to add that little bit more personality and that little bit more.
I think you're very good at that. I've been copying your style because
Wow.
No,
Hang on a minute.
No, for the podcast page, I really like the way you do captions.
Aw,
I do really like it. So I've
Ellie.
been trying to sort of copy your sort of style, really.
You're
Because with
cute.
me, I just come across a little bit unhinged sometimes.
Yeah. yeah. I think you just are like, I'm just going to type what's in my head right now.
What's in my head right
Yeah.
now, yeah.
Sometimes though, that's like the vibe, because I do that all the time. I go on stories and I'm like, oh my god, everybody, and like I say everybody.
Yeah.
It's just my mum and my
Yeah.
dad.
So the
Shout
three
out
people
mum
that
and
are
dad.
watching.
Fake
And
it till
then
you
like
make it.
I'll do a moan or a whinge, and then like about half an hour later, I'm like, is that appropriate?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll delete. I will delete.
But do you know what, though? You read so much more into your captions
Yeah,
than
no, absolutely.
anybody
Yeah.
else would. So we almost need to climb out of our own arses a bit and realise
No
it's
one
not
cares
all
as
about
much as
us.
you do.
Yeah. But I think, you know, you put so much thought into that when you're starting out, and actually it's just not that deep.
No,
It's
not. Get a
really
grip.
not. No. But I think the hardest part about setting up my business, and the bit that I really remember wanting to smash my head against a brick wall, was my own inability to make a fucking decision.
Yeah.
Like the size of the prints,
Yeah.
the placement of the prints, the font I was going to use for the prints, all those decisions were so fucking difficult.
Yeah.
I could not sell. Like, we're talking weeks and weeks and weeks, to the point where I'd just go to somebody else, you pick, because I can't.
Oh, Ellie.
And I don't know why it didn't occur to me that I would be able to change that further down the line
Absolutely.
if I didn't like
Do
it.
whatever the fuck you want.
And I have on some of them. I've tweaked them since.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like, this is set in stone now, and it wasn't at all. But oh god, I did drive myself mad. I really
think
did.
It's that because we live in the era of the internet. Because once you put something out there, everyone's seen it.
True.
And I do feel a little bit like it's got to be perfect before I show
Yeah.
anyone. Whereas if we lived in like the 1800s, I don't know what you would do in the 1800s. Probably wouldn't have this job, but I'd be like going around the town square showing people my drawing. Do you know what I mean?
What is going on right now?
I think I'm having a fever dream. But do you know what I mean? I think it feels very final because you're like, all these strangers are going to look at it, and you essentially post on an Instagram is kind of asking for approval, isn't it? And if it's not right, I feel like you have an intense pressure that it's got to be perfect all the time.
I actually, when I launched, I had different brand fonts, and after about a month, I was like, these aren't working actually, and I just changed them, and I was like, oh my god, what have I? It's like God, if I can't even get my own fonts right, but then it's like, if that's not
okay.
proof that you can change things all the time, and like it's not actually a big deal, you just think it is, and things like that. As long as you're not doing it every day, like it don't matter really, and no one noticed.
In the early days, you can make mistakes. At the end of the day, I know that there's things now that I did when I started that I look back on and go, Ellie, what the fuck were you thinking? With your branding, start minimal, because you're going to want to change it.
Yeah.
You are going to want to change it. So start very minimal, build it up.
Yeah.
If it
And, like,
changes, it doesn't matter.
Don't order 10,000 business cards.
Yeah.
Don't do
Because
that
you're going to
now.
want to change your logo.
I want to
before
go
they're all
into
gone.
that a bit more later on in the episode today. But yes, start small quantities.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake, if you take one thing away from this episode, it's buy small quantities of your branding to start
definitely.
with.
Agree.
I honestly think now, on reflection, like 5 years later, the biggest hurdle that you have to overcome is your own confidence. It's yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I was not very confident going into the business. Like I said, I didn't even call it business for the longest time. But I think it's something that just kind of, it comes over time. I don't think it's necessarily like, I didn't have it then and I do have it now. I think it'll keep growing the more the business goes on. Do you know what I mean? I don't think, I'm 5 years in now, I'm as confident as I'm ever going to be. Because I'm not. There is still things that I do and I'm like, maybe that was a bit shit. But in another 5 years, I might be double as confident.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think it's the fear of making mistakes early on, but in reality, you have to make those mistakes to learn from them as well.
Yeah.
So in reality, when you're actually in amongst it, you don't want to trip up for the life of you. You don't want to do anything that's going to cost you money, that's going to knock your confidence. But I think you actually have to.
Yeah.
And you might not even know you're doing it at the time. I know I made mistakes starting the business that I really wished I hadn't, which again, you know, I'll
I think it's like that
go
in
into
everything,
there.
isn't it? Any aspect of
Yeah.
life. I don't think it's just business. I think getting the confidence to start the business, my advice would be like, go small, grow from there. Don't just go, I'm quitting my job and I'm doing this full time and I've bought 6,000 business cards and do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Because probably not going to go as you expect.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Jade, but I also think, you know, if you're trying to get a business off the ground, if you're there going, oh, it's just a teeny tiny business, it doesn't give a great impression. I remember in the early days, I was trading at a market, and this was probably my first year of doing markets, and I was next to a girl who was more experienced than me, and she was confident. She was really confident, but I really really liked that about her. And I was talking to her just because she was good company. And I said to her, I was like, I'd love to be like you and sort of, really bouncy. And she was like, you just got to fake it till you make it, girl.
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't sure how I felt about that phrase. And now I completely agree with it.
Yeah.
Because she might have been screaming internally for all I knew, but it wasn't coming across. To me, she was just a great businesswoman with great products.
Yeah.
That was all I was seeing. And I just thought, now I totally agree with that phrase. Even if you're not feeling it, give other people the impression that you've got it down to a fucking T.
Yeah.
You don't need to be like that behind closed doors. I don't think you have to be like that with other small business owners, but to the public, you own it.
Yeah. No, I do agree. Yeah, you are right.
But you are right in the sense that it isn't something that happens overnight. And if you're listening to this and you don't currently run a small business, but it's something you might like to do in the future, there's never a perfect time, so stop waiting for it.
Yeah.
There isn't a perfect time. For me, there was. It was COVID, but I wouldn't wish that on anybody or society ever again.
I hope it's never going to happen again.
No.
But if it does, start a business.
No, but if you're waiting for that fucking eureka moment where it's just going to fucking click into place, it's not going to come. It's not.
No.
There'll always be something.
Yeah, there is. Or and if you're not feeling it, you'll find an excuse, because that's what I was like, and I only realised that years down the line that I was just looking for an excuse. You build confidence over time.
Yeah.
I think the starting point is you have to like the work you do. That is non-negotiable. If you don't like it, how are you going to expect other people to like it? So as long as you're making things that you think, yeah, that's good, I really like that, that is a good starting point.
Yeah.
Everything else will build around that.
I
But
wholeheartedly agree.
you have to like the work you are producing, the work you are putting out.
Yeah.
You have to be a fan of yourself. You are technically your first customer because you invest in yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. You just have to start, even if it feels icky, being like, here I am, hello everyone. Like, it took me years to get to this point, and therapy as well, to build the confidence to be like, okay, it's happening this time, and I'm not messing about, like, I'm gonna see it through.
Yeah.
Like, you could just wait forever, and I've already changed things. There's things that I'll change again.
When you're starting out, you think it's got to be perfect, it's got to be this, it's got to be that.
Yeah.
And it's not. It doesn't have to be that at all. It can be whatever it needs to be at the start. Is fine.
If it's perfect first off, then how does it grow?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Do you know what that noise means, Ellie?
I think I do.
What do you think it is?
Could it be the fucking Q&A that we do at the end of every fucking episode?
No. Yes, it is time for Q&A. So the Q&A is just a little section we do at the end of every episode where we answer a couple of questions from our Instagram followers and our listeners. So we have 2 questions. Ellie, do you want to read the first one?
Yes, I do, and I like this question.
Go on.
So, question 1. This was, I can't remember who wrote this. I'm so sorry.
Let's say it was anonymous.
I'd say it was anonymous. Oh God, whoever wrote this, and I am sorry. I think, but yeah. If you could start all over again tomorrow, is there anything you would do differently? I love this question.
Do you want to go first? Do you want to go first?
To be honest, sometimes I think if I could start all over again tomorrow, I would YOLO and quit my job and just do it. Just be like,
Oh, really?
hey, I'm just going to go full time
Yeah.
and see how it goes. Because I keep getting opportunities that end up falling through because they want someone full time, like to do,
okay.
you know, like in the day, that kind of thing. So it's
Yeah.
just, I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of stuff. But then also, hey, it's what's for you will not pass you by. So
This is true. This is true. And as well, you need to take care of your own peace of mind. And if having
gotta
that,
pay them bills.
Yeah.
if having some sort of security is what you need right now, then that's also okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you've just got to, you know, I know a lot of people that do this full time. I know a lot of people that do it part time. We've all got our reasons.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, when you have a part time job, say, oh, one day you'll be doing this full time. And maybe that's not necessarily.
It doesn't need to be the aim.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, that's
absolutely not.
true.
If I could start all over again tomorrow, I would. So when I was not calling it a business, I kind of went from that phase, and then all of a sudden I ordered business cards and I got products on Etsy and all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, oh shit, yeah, this is a business. And then I was like, right, I need to order like 10,000 prints of each design. And at the time I had like 4 designs and they were all a bit shit. And I ordered thousands of postcards that I've still got some of. And I'm like, that it looks nothing like my work anymore. But I'm like, how the fuck am I ever going to get rid of these? Do you know what I mean? So I would say, again, like, I don't want to keep being like, I'm small, but
Yeah, you are.
I know, but what I would recommend is don't order loads and loads of stuff when
Yeah.
you're just starting out, because you don't know how fast you're going to want to change things. And that's, I'm not even talking like my branding, I'm talking my actual products that I'm selling.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because-
your style's developed a lot over
yeah,
the years, hasn't it?
yeah. But because I ordered so many of them at the beginning, they don't fit with my work anymore, and I'm just stuck with them, or I'm like binning them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do, yeah.
So yeah, if I changed one thing, it would be older, smaller amounts of products.
That's similar to what I was going to say, actually. So my first lot of branding, I don't mind saying, was a pile of shite. Like, no, it was. I've not made many changes. Like, I've kept the same font. I've sort of kept the same colours. But I look back at the first business cards that I made for the business. And I was using a much darker tone of pink that just didn't work for me. And I can't explain why either, because it's just a colour.
Yeah, but that sometimes makes all the difference.
Yeah, no, it does. And I don't mind saying that I didn't know what to do, because I haven't really got an eye for colour, but I knew I wanted some sort of pop of colour in the business. So the only way to do that really was through branding.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to a lady in the studio, I was like, I don't know what colour to use. I was like, so what I've done is I've took a picture of my hair and I've just used the colour of my hair and saturated it down, which led to a sort of peachy pink colour. But it was only after I'd ordered 250 business cards, 500 stickers to go on products, that somebody else at the studio said to me, she said, I like the sort of peachy pink that you're using. She said, but what if you were to take that right down, it'd be like a fleshy pink. She said, and then you're using skin tones.
Yeah.
She said, make the colour of your font more of like a deep brown in your logo. She said you could relate it back to skin tones. And I was like, where the fuck were you, Louise? When I was ordering, I went, oh my God, that's so much better. But I've already ordered business
Where were
cards.
you 250 business cards ago?
Where were you? Yeah, it's Louise at the studio. Thank you so much for your suggestion. That was about 3 weeks too late. But no, that's what I did in the end. But I could gradually change that as well.
Yeah.
So next time I ordered stickers, I followed her advice. I made the logo more of a sort of a very sort of pale sort of pink colour.
Yeah.
Not fleshy. It's not fleshy, because I don't think, flesh tone is particularly.
I'm not really enjoying you saying the word flesh.
I know, yeah, it's not. But it matches now more, I think, with the brand.
It does. But that's another thing I would also, not necessarily if I could start all over again, but if I could like go back and tell myself something, it would be like, don't get too hung up on things like that.
Yeah.
Like you can change things at any point.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But I actually have a tip for that. So if you are starting your business and you're like, oh my God, branding, that's so exciting. I would be like, whoa, hold your horses. Just have your business name in like an easy to read font. Pick maybe 3 colours and just stick with that for a while. Because as you grow, you will change things. Your ideas will change. You'll realise who you want to speak to, who you want to work with.
Yeah.
And then everything will start to come about properly. So
Good
there
tip.
But we've always said this as well. People get so overwhelmed by the word branding, but it is literally just that. It's some colours and a font, really, isn't it? And that's from an expert, so take that.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. I should have done the same thing. I didn't. I just sort of went, I'll tell you what, I'll take a picture of colour of my hair and
That's
I'll
such a
use that
bizarre
colour.
way to do it.
But
But I like
also,
it.
in a way, that is like, it's a nice sort of segue of personal branding.
Yeah.
It was a nod to myself.
Yeah. But as well, like how you mentioned before about the mission, it's like as long as you've got that, even though that can change as well, like whatever you do visually, if you've got the mission sorted and you keep at it with that, then everything else will.
The mission statement is almost like the foundations of your house.
Because exactly,
Yeah.
that's it. Like your visuals is just one part of branding, and people get bogged down on that, but it can be so much other stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So much other stuff.
It's gonna be so much other stuff. I'm going to keep it really vague about what the stuff is, but it's going to be so much other stuff. No, I like that. Keep it vague.
Check out my page
Yeah,
for more.
let them come to you. Don't give away all your secrets.
No, I love that. But honestly, I think another tip for starting a small business, be prepared for the fact that some money might go down the drain.
Yeah.
My first, compliment slips that you put in orders, my first lot were fucking awful.
Oh, no.
Because I don't mind saying I'm no graphic designer. It was a shitty Canva job. And I didn't use any pictures of my products in there. I didn't say who I was. It was literally a card that I had printed just saying thank you. That was it. In big bold
Keep it
letters.
simple,
straight to the
It
point.
was just aggressive.
Straight to the point.
I should have just got a plain piece of paper and just wrote little thank you notes, but I didn't. I ordered a fuck ton of them from fucking Solo Press. I think I spent probably about 50 quid on them, on a load of them. I've used 2 before I went, they're shit,
Ellie.
upgrade. But it's okay. I've got a box of stuff that I ordered that when I first started that I just grew out of really quickly. I had better ideas, or Louise from the studio had better ideas for my brand identity. entity. They're still in a box. They're not going to get used. I should just bin them.
Yeah.
I've got business cards. I've got like 250 or something, and they've just never left the box. I didn't do anything with them. What's the point?
It's a bit difficult for your business, isn't it? Because you're not out selling a product.
Yeah, that is something that I thought maybe I'll do that this time, but then I'm just like, find me online.
No, but just be prepared for the fact that I'm sure lots of people who've been doing this for a few years as well, I'm sure they've all got that little box of stuff that they think, how the fuck am I going to get rid of that? Yeah, what a waste of money. And just be prepared for the fact, if you are new to it, you're going to have that box of shite soon that was a complete waste of money too. But it's okay. We all live. We're all still here. No one's gone bankrupt yet.
No. And just dead quickly, when I first started, I was doing the little handwritten, like, thank you so much for ordering. And this man left me a review on Etsy, and he was like, it was genuinely so lovely. He was like, this was such a lovely order, and she left like a little handwritten note, and I genuinely hope that she doesn't have time to do that in the future because she's so busy with orders. And now I don't have time to do that, and I buy ones that say thank you for all that kind of shit. And every time I pack an order, I think about that, and it makes me so happy. I know. Isn't that dead sweet?
That
and he was
is
just
really
like,
nice.
yeah, and he wasn't even like, he was somebody that I wouldn't even class as like my demographic. He was like a 50-year-old man. Do you know what I mean? That's not my target
Could have been
audience
buying for his daughter.
He could have been, but it's just so sweet. I love it.
Sweet.
Really
No, don't cry.
I don't cry, so it's fine.
Anyway, question 2.
Yes.
This is also from Anonymous. They've written, any tips for naming your business? I'll be graduating from uni very soon and want to start selling my paintings.
Yay.
I don't know whether to trade under my name or pick something quirky and fun. Any tips, girls?
I have a lot to say again.
I'm boring as fuck. My business is just my name. But I have got quite a weird name. So I do think in that kind of terms of things, I don't know if it helps people remember me or if people go, I can't remember that, it was weird. I don't know. I don't know if that works with or against me.
I stumbled over your name for the first 2 years of being friends with you.
Most people do.
Yeah.
When I was in school, if they ever read me out in assembly, they'd go Jade, Dodd, and just completely skip my name out completely. But I don't know. I don't know if that helps me or if it's a benefit or a hindrance.
Well, I think naming your business is actually really important because this was another thing that I was really indecisive over, to the point where I did an Instagram poll on my personal page.
Oh, God.
Well, not my personal page, but like my other art page that I had before this.
What were the other options?
The other options were, my last name's Watson, so I really wanted to call it What's-Her-Face.
Oh my God, I love that.
Oh, fuck off the pen.
I love change it now. Bring all your business cards and change it.
Yeah, get another box going.
No, but the other option was, rather than the Ellie Francesca, because that's a mouthful and no one can spell Francesca, it's the same problem as you. I was going to combine the two and have it Elfra Designs.
Ooh, I like that as well.
Fuck off, Jane.
Where was I when this poll was going on?
You didn't know who I was. You were too much of a big star for that, love me.
So I did actually trade under a different name when I very first started the business. I was Jade Laura Illustration, which is very similar to Ellie Francesca Design, I feel. But again, it's just my name, isn't it? It's just, this is my name.
Well, I did actually in the end ask the women's organisation what they thought about this, and they said to go with your name because it'll give people a more personal impression of you. So the idea of, she was talking about further down the line, if I did markets, people wouldn't know that I was Ellie Francesca. And I am glad of that now. Yes, it's boring. I like the idea, though, that people know when they meet me that I'm Ellie.
Yeah.
Well, mostly. I mean, sometimes if my dad does a market
They think he's Ellie.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes if my dad does a market with me, people will still come up to him and go, do you draw these?
Aww, he suits Ellie. That's cute.
But no, I went for simple in the end, and also it was a bit of research as well. So I actually, as I say, I was thinking on the name Elfra. I liked it, and then when I googled it, it was some chemical company in Australia.
Oh no!
So you have to consider things
you
like this. You have to consider the availability of it on Instagram. Is there any other businesses with a similar name? These are all things, and I knew that the name Ellie is common as fucking muck, but I don't know any Ellie Francescas. And on googling it, there is another one somewhere in the UK, but she's not doing portraiture, so it's all good.
I think as well, if you go with just your name, it's easier to kind of get around that, isn't it? That aspect of like, if someone else called that, because it's just your name.
Yeah,
nobody's you can't be in trouble for being having your name.
Whereas Alpha is a chemical plant.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And I know, like, there's nobody else in the world called Jade Mewett Dodd.
Yeah,
there's only 2 Mewett Dodds in the universe, and it's me and my brother, and he's not going to fucking sue me. Well, he might.
But we thingied over the name for the podcast quite a lot, didn't we? We weren't in agreement at the start. I took a long time to come on board with really fucking trying.
Yeah, I just kept saying it to you.
Yeah, she did actually.
It's like every time we had a discussion, I was like, what about this? And you were like, you've already said it. Like saying it to you, like coming around your house to saying it while you're asleep over and over again. Like learning French.
But I did take a while to come on board with that name, and that caused issues later on as well, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Platforms don't like swearing in the title, so we had to asterisk it in some places.
But I think...
Then Jade had a meltdown, and I said it's not that big of a deal. Suddenly the name you came up with isn't such a good idea anymore.
That some places had to have an asterisk and some places... I hate that it's not the
Yeah,
same.
I get that, yeah.
It's not my vibe. But I do think it does sum up the podcast very well. I think we did good there. I think I did good there.
I will share a tip that I got though from the women's organisation. They said never pick a name that restricts yourself, because I wasn't sure about Ellie draws things as well.
Yeah.
That was another option, but then she went, but what if you don't want to draw things? What if you might go back to painting? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm really putting myself in a box there, aren't I? So keep it vague, keep it personal.
Yeah. What about you? Where did Slug Creative come from?
I love that name.
Yeah, actually, it came about when I was trying to think of something else. Like, I am in this community club, shout out the content club, Jess Bruno.
Cute.
I put it in the chat and I was like, hello, what do we think of this? I'm trying to come up with something and I'm really struggling. It's such a slog. And Jess was like, oh my God, I love slog. And I was like, oh my God, I love slog. Like, the more I thought about it, the more I could do like these other sort of puns and word associations, and it just could really be fleshed out into something, and also represents business and like that messy middle of business and all that kind of thing. So I just thought, that's a good one, isn't it?
Do you know what though? Isn't it similar, Slog Creative, to Really Fucking Trying?
Yeah.
It is. It's in a similar
Brutally
vein,
honest
isn't it?
about how shit things are.
I'll tell you when my turning point was. It was when I was writing the mission statement, and then I could end it with, and we are all really fucking trying. And then suddenly I was on board.
That
I was
won you
like,
round,
this is
didn't it?
perfect.
Yeah, that's it. When you get like the association things and you can use it in other instances, you're like,
Yes,
I've
it
won.
suddenly clicks. But yeah, I don't regret my business name because I like people knowing that I'm Ellie. That's one thing that I think about small businesses when they don't have their own name in the title. I always think, oh God, what's your name?
Name?
And I didn't want people to think that about us. I like the idea of people knowing that I'm Ellie.
Yeah, I like that about me as well. Obviously, I've also got Green Jam.
Oh yeah?
That I hardly ever talk about. So Green Jam came from, it's got lots and lots of origins. So obviously it's a family business. Me and my mum run the shop together. And where our family house is, it's been like passed down through generations. Where it stands, the ground used to be an orchard. So we were going off like appley kind of names. And that obviously led us eventually to Jam. But Jam also stands for Jade and Mum, which is a little cute twist that nobody would expect. And then I really wanted pink Jam, and Mum said no, and she picked green. But I quite like that because it's got like lots of little meanings that nobody would ever really care about. Was
that your first friend to know about the shop? Because I feel like, because you sent me a list on WhatsApp. I was like, oh, throw some name suggestions at me. And fuck me, did you throw some name suggestions at me?
We had loads, didn't we?
I got way more than I bargained for. It's like, oh, she's written me a book. Lovely. Her debut novel. I'm so proud.
How many times do you think you read the word apple?
I thought that was a reference to being sort of near Liverpool and the Beatles with the apple thing.
No. So
No.
So the green has actually got very little reference, but the jam is obviously Jade and Mum. It's a jam as in like it's a mixture of things like a jam is. It's a mixture of things in a shop. And also at the time we were very like, we'd only got the shop because my brother was getting the music studio, so we were like, how can we link it in with that a little bit as well? So obviously you jam in like a jam session. So I like that it's lots of little different things. And
so to this person asking for tips as well.
Okay, what?
I like business names that are quirky. Like I love Slog Creative.
Yeah.
I've really come on board with Really Fucking Trying. I'm really fucking on board now. But I wasn't at the start. I would say try out things, come up with a list, and then revisit that list in a few months' time and see what fits best. Yeah. It might be that it's your own name, and that's okay. A lot of us do it.
So what I did, obviously, Green Jam has come around a lot more recently than Jamie McDodd. So what I did for Green Jam was, like you just said, like I wrote a massive list of all the like like word combinations I could ever possibly think of.
Yeah.
And then I just kept revisiting it. And every time I revisited the list, I was like, there was another one that I was like, oh, I don't really like that one anymore.
Yeah.
And then I just kept getting rid of those ones until eventually I was left with like 3. And then I was like, right, you have to pick now. Do you know what I mean? So I would just literally go on whatever kind of themes you're thinking, whatever the business is going to be about, add your name in there, all that kind of shit. Write down every combination of all the words you can think of. And then eventually you will narrow it down, is my advice.
I know that a lot of small businesses as well use like pets' names or the children's names.
Yeah.
And that gives you a lovely story to tell as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the green jam and the hidden meaning behind that.
Yeah.
So I think it depends what you want. For me, as I say, the most important thing for me was getting my name out there.
Yeah.
So I went with Ellie Francesca Design. I wanted to be Ellie Francesca Designs with an S at the end, but it was too long.
Oh no.
Yeah, I would say to this person, write down a list of potential names, keep revisiting that. Don't do anything that's going to section you off.
Yeah.
So, for example, this person does paintings, but I wouldn't call themselves paints in any way.
Yeah.
Just in case you want to diversify in the future.
Yeah.
Write a list. They've said here as well that, they've said they don't know whether to trade under my name or pick something quirky and fun. Write that list, keep going back to it, see what others think as well. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's your business. It's not going to affect anybody more than it affects you.
But also, you don't need to necessarily pick between your name or something fun. It could be like Pauline's Quirky Art. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Please call it that.
Even if your name's not Pauline, just call it Pauline's Quirky Art. I love it.
Do you know what I mean?
That's my business's next name. You Pauline? No.
I'm sending the business cards to print.
I love that idea of using a name that's got no link at all. Oh, is a family member called Pauline?
No. I heard it on a podcast. Well, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be one or the other. It can be a nice mixture.
That's one of my favourite questions we've ever had.
Yeah, I like that. That's cute. So that is all we've got time for this week. A huge thank you to Courtney for joining us and sharing all those gems about starting your business.
Have you had fun?
Yes, thank you for having me. It's been fabulous.
Thanks for joining
And I'm not
us.
as sweaty and nervous as I thought I'd be.
Tell everyone how nice we are.
Absolutely stunning.
So this is the first in a 2-part series. So as we say, this one for more beginners, more for newbies, students even. Now the next one is for us fucking old timers, for us old haggard people, about growing the business after this. So you've started the business, it's up and running. What the fuck do you do next? Well, we're going to try and answer that.
We are.
And we will be joined by a different but equally fabulous guest.
So I hope that you've very much enjoyed this episode. We will see you in 2 weeks, but in the meantime, don't forget you can give us a follow on Instagram at reallyfuckingtrying. And if you've got a question for us or you want to apply to be a guest, you can check out all the links in our bio. There's also a Ko-fi link if you want to support the podcast. You can buy us a coffee, you can grab some of our merch. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.